Hey y'all, it's Ashley with another layout for April 2014. Here's the April layout challenge, and I specifically focused on the sunburst pattern, the hoop art, a little bit of the sequins, as well as some of the black and white in that rug on one of the pictures. So this layout actually gets very interesting, but I wanted you guys to see my thought process and the frustration that I go through with this. I know that it goes really fast here at the beginning, but the truth is I don't use any of this stuff that I'm doing right now, but I still wanted to include it so you could see that I do mess. I mean, of course, everybody messes up, but that when I do mess up, I, do try again, and even if it's a similar design, and maybe just trying a different technique or something. And that's exactly what I do here. So what I've done is I started with Amy Tangerine paper, pattern paper that came in our kit. I've put some gesso on top, and then I've added some Heidi Swapp mist with a stencil. Now, then I add these silk pigment paints. Now, these I thought were Twinkling H2Os when I bought them, and then I got home and realized that they weren't. They were in the same section as the Twinkling H2Os. And so I guess they're very similar. I don't even know. I'm not real sure what they do and what the difference is, or like what the comparison is. But I ended up adding all of that color, and those colors actually went really well with the mood board. I think it's like the very top picture that I was trying to use the color scheme to get my colors to look very similar to those. But I didn't really end up liking it even after I dried. So I'll kind of walk you through why in here in just a second. So right now I'm trying to mimic that hoop art that's in the mood board. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking my letter stickers and I'm punching some circles from the pattern papers in the kit. And the title of the layout at this point is First Design Team. And so the picture that I'm using is the picture that Kimberly from who owns Hip Kit Club, she had posted on her blog. So I went ahead and printed it out when she made the announcement. So I went ahead and printed out the picture and wanted to document that just because it was a really exciting moment for me. So like I said, the title of the layout is First Design Team. I end up changing that a little bit just because I end up using some different letters, but I'll walk you through that when we get to that point. So right now my other page is drying, and I put some black mist on it, and I did not like it at all because the black mist wouldn't seep in, especially because the gesso was on there. So then what I do, I tried to put gesso on top of it, and then the whole thing turned like a gray color. It was not good. I tried to tone down the color by putting gesso even on top of it, and it did not work out. So I started out with a brand new sheet of white paper from American Crafts that came in our kit. I'm taking these different sprays, still mimicking the sunburst. I keep calling it that. I really don't even know if that's what it is, but that's what it reminds me of. Still mimicking that piece from the mood board challenge, but this is much more toned down because of how much white is in this is on this layout rather than the other one. The other one was full of color, and this is just much more toned down, and I really like that. So right now I'm just matting my photo on some of the gray cardstock that came in our kit, but I also matted it on some of My Mind's Eye paper, and then I've taken that vellum piece with the butterfly on it that's from Studio Calico, and and actually the Jelly Bean Soup placemat things fit right on top. So I knew for sure I want to take the design this route. So I knew I liked that. And actually I think that paper that I matted the picture on, I think that's actually Studio Calico. I was wrong. It has the days of the week on there. So now I'm going to go ahead and adhere these letters, and the letters will stay in the same place, but I'll actually end up changing the thickers here in a few minutes. So I start to get a little crazy. I do end up liking it, so I don't change a whole lot from this point on, but I do keep adding and adding. So right now I've thought to myself, okay, I want to use these rub-ons. I keep looking at them and I love them, and I think this would be the perfect layout to use them on. So I start to kind of, the first thought is I'm going to try to find the rub-ons that match the colors. So I use the ice cream cone because it was kind of a celebration day, and when I think of ice cream, that's what I think of. I started to I started to use that sun in that cloud, and then I realized that I had it turned upside down, so I really just jacked that up completely. And then so I had to kind of try to hide that, so I ended up adding the hello up there. And of course, these are all the rub-ons from the same collection with Amy Tangerine. Added the camera and then the little squiggly line. And then, of course, this heart. And then I took the stamp set and I was like, okay, I can kind of do my own, even though these aren't rub-ons, but I can kind of add some of my own elements in there. So I took the stamp set from Elle Studio and tried to find some ink that matched. Added the stars from the stamp set, and then now I'm adding this little saying that says the best. I think I was looking to see what else I could use. Yeah, and then I use that rub-on that says, I think it says this is, or remember this, I can't remember what it says, and I put real life in the middle of it. And now I'm adding some of those really cute gems from Studio Calico, or those really pretty gems from Studio Calico. And then I thought about adding 2014 where the ice cream cone was, but I decided it was too much of a distraction just because of the colors didn't match too well. So then I start adding the sequins to kind of relate to one of the photos in the mood board. This was this layout was sort of frustrating towards the beginning, and so my scrap room was a mess by this time because of course I'm like throwing stuff around trying to figure out what I want to use next and how I'm going to use it, and I try to be organized at the beginning. It just doesn't end up that way. But so I grabbed the closest glue, and the closest glue was this tacky, it's really good glue, but it's kind of it's not a glue that you would use for sequins. But at this point I was like, I don't really care. I want to get the layout done because I liked where it was going, but I was afraid if I just kept adding and adding, I was just going to ruin it. So I like it at this point. And then I have the bright idea to take the stamp set that's like got splatters on it. And it doesn't look so bad from the camera, but because the paper is so textured, the stamp set just didn't work very well on it. So then I thought to myself, well, let me add another one and see if it works this time. I don't know why I thought that, but it didn't. It like I said, it doesn't look so bad from this view, but I didn't like it in person. So pull out the India ink. When all goes wrong, you just got to pull out the India ink and try to make it better. So I did end up liking it with the India ink. So I pull this up so that I can get that India ink down. How many times can I say India ink in the same sentence? And then I add a little bit more to try to just, I guess, drag your eye around the page rather than just in a few spots, because it is a layout that's just full of stuff. And the design is kind of like circular, I guess. It goes around the whole page. I don't know how else to say that. But I also matted the layout onto the black and white paper. So I felt like it made sense, especially because there are some other black elements in the layout, like the butterfly and the pattern paper. So I felt like it made sense to add the India ink, and especially because I was trying to cover a mistake too, and that didn't work out so well, but I ended up liking it in the end, so it's okay. I've also added some of those photo corners that I just made by trimming some of the frames that came in the kit. They were the crepe paper frames. And I'm trying to add a couple little layering pieces underneath that vellum piece because you could see the mess up through there. And then I added another gem. I'm liking at this point. One thing that I want to change is the title. The reason I want to change the title is because I want the thickers to be black, and that's because it will go along with everything else. So I really liked that. It doesn't look like too big of a difference in the camera, but it really is in person, and it made me happy. So that's that eventually that I decide whether I like it or not. But I ended up going with 2014 because I realized I didn't have any S's, and so I couldn't spell first. So I went with 2014. And I went with the thickers that you can paint mist or use gelatos or something like that. In this case, I used the archival ink and then just wiped it off with the paper towel. So the title ends up being 2014 First Design Team. And that pretty much finishes up the layout. I hope you guys enjoyed that full process of the frustration and the messing up and things like that. And I hope you guys will gain some inspiration from this. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks again for watching. Have a great Saturday.